Hello and welcome. I'm Julia, and we are going to do a little reading comp practice today to help you prepare for the GMAT. We will start by reading a short passage. Then we're going to look at 3 questions on the author's tone and opinions on the overall passage, as well as some internal parts, just to get a feel for the different types of tone questions you might encounter. Let's get started. The resurgence of independent bookstores following years of decline in the face of online retail competition represents one of the more surprising developments in modern commerce. While digital platforms initially seemed poised to render physical bookstores obsolete, recent data reveals a sharp increase in independent bookstore openings in the last 5 years. This trend appears driven by more than mere nostalgia. These establishments have evolved into cultural hubs that deftly combine traditional bookselling with innovative community programming. Though some industry analysts attribute this revival solely to anti-technology sentiment, such an explanation overlooks the sophisticated ways these stores have integrated digital tools while preserving the irreplaceable experience of physical book browsing. The most successful of these enterprises have demonstrated that the future of bookselling lies not in resisting technological change, but in thoughtfully balancing digital convenience with the distinctly human elements of literary discovery. Let's look at our first tone question. The author's attitude toward independent bookstores can best be described as: the author calls the development surprising, implying that they weren't expecting it, but they're not mad about it. They use data to describe the increase as sharp, showing that it constitutes a significant change. They also describe the bookstores as cultural hubs and their changes as innovative. Overall, there's a professional distance, but they do acknowledge that it's trending toward success. I would say cautiously optimistic is a pretty accurate summation of their tone on bookstores. Great, let's try a slightly more challenging question. The author's tone regarding industry analysts who attribute the revival to anti-technology sentiment is best characterized as, let's find the part about industry analysts and anti-technology sentiment. Here we go. The author does acknowledge the industry analyst's opinion, but they don't agree with it at all. They aren't openly dismissive, like these analysts are idiots, they should be ashamed. The author isn't supportive or accepting, only acknowledging. They certainly aren't sarcastic or super critical. They simply offer a reasoned counterargument. Politely disagreeing is pretty accurate. Let's see. Perfect. One more question. The author's view of the relationship between traditional bookselling and technological advancement appears to be one of, let's see what clues we have. They describe the combination as deft. They've been deftly combined. The sophisticated ways these stores have integrated digital tools with while preserving irreplaceable experience of physical book browsing. And here at the end, the future of bookselling lies not in resisting technological change, but in thoughtfully balancing digital convenience with the distinctly human elements of literary discovery. They don't seem to have a preference for traditional methods because they talk about the convenience of digital tools and also the irreplaceable experience of physical book browsing. They don't seem concerned about conflict or uncertain about long-term compatibility. I would say B is the closest trap answer, but notice that this passage doesn't really advocate for peaceful coexistence of technology and traditional bookselling. Instead, it talks about how integrating digital technology into the already appealing process of physical book browsing is the method that most successful independent bookstores have used. So I would say support for complementary integration. Notice some of the keywords I pointed out and how they change the tone of the passage. Getting familiar with how tweaking a description slightly can change how it comes across to the audience is at the heart of these tone questions. Keep studying, and I will see you next time.